First off, I want to thank the Duffers who participated in our speed and distance clinic this morning. Like I said, I'm going to go over the few training aids that can be used to help speed and distance and how to do them properly. So first off, we start with the swing fan, which is good because of the weight. It's not super heavy like a sledgehammer, but it's resistance with the fan. So it's a great way to warm up. And again, you can come to the Jones Center and come and borrow these at any point in time. But just swinging this back and through is going to help you really get the feel of using your core instead of your arms. There's not any arms that can make this thing whoosh through the air. You're going to really have to engage your core, engage your feet, and be really strong swinging. So that's the first thing we talked about and used today. The next thing we'll look at is just a very simple 4-pound medicine ball. Again, you can go up to anywhere about 4 to 8 pounds. And what you're doing here is you're working on deceleration, not acceleration. So we're not throwing it against the wall. We're getting in our golf stance. We're going back, kind of loading up in our back leg, loading our hips, keeping our head somewhat still in the middle of our stance, and then going through, boom, and holding right here and stopping. Okay, that's the deceleration phase. So if you can stop this ball with straight arms, you're going to make sure that everything was working together and getting a really post up feeling on that front leg. Post up. Okay, so that's the second thing we talked about. When we look at simple tubing here, this is the red tubing. It's about medium grade. It's not too thin or too thick. You're going to kind of roll it up until it's like a golf grip and put it under your foot here. Now, the more you go towards the middle, the harder it becomes. But you can grab this with your left hand and then get your golf grip and feel the stretch up to the top, producing width from that front foot is going to be much better than somebody that's just pulling their arms in. I don't feel the stretch at all right here. I want to stretch it up, 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 up to the clouds and away. So I'm not going behind my head towards my foot. I'm going diagonally 45 degrees up and right as far as I can go with my head staying right there over the ball. This gives you a good feel of what it's like to really get a long front arm and a long, wide backswing. As I'm doing this, I'm keeping my elbows nice and together and getting my back to the target. From the next one, we get the same tubing, and you're going to grab it 12 inches apart and work yourself into external rotation of the shoulders. It's very important that as we come down, that we feel the external rotation of the trail shoulder. Same thing on the follow through with the lead shoulder, but external rotation. If you don't have bands, it's very easy to just go back and forth on the range. Get those rotators warmed up, back and through like this. Again, we talked about a professional can not only take their forearm to spine angle, but they're able to get that forearm behind their spine angle and get that club really lagging on plane and into a powerful hitting position. If you lack external rotation, it's going to be very tough to generate enough speed to hit as far as you can. Moving on, I have a speed stick here. A little piece of lead at the end of a really light graphite shaft. And pretty plain and simple, a lot of players lack arm speed. A lot of times the body is out racing the arms, and it's just a kind of a real chesty hit instead of letting these arms get really active and whoosh. So when I use this, I try to feel like the arms are going and pulling my body through, really waking up the arms. All this rotation is only good if we get the arms back in front of us. So let's learn how to really speed up those arms, get some good speed. And doing this over and over is just going to get you in the habit of swinging fast. And you also want to do it both ways to stay symmetrical through your spine. So we go back and whip it through on the left side too. Okay, that's your speed stick. As we go a little farther here, let's just make sure that we're using the correct levers. Too many times I see players lever the elbow instead of the wrist. This club has not traveled very far. I've gotten my hands pretty far, but not the club head. We should be able to leverage the wrist without the elbow. Getting this club hinged with the wrist is going to allow that club to travel really far when we go back. And you can't get this thing on here unless you straighten your lead arm. So using the swing guide will teach you how to get the wrist cocked without bending the elbow. Also from this angle, when it gets right on there, the club face gets matched up to the left forearm and square. If you get too close, it's going to miss. Same thing if you go too open. So learning how to just go from here to here, lock it on that forearm. This is a lot harder than it looks. Now the last one's a little more intense. It's going to take some practice, but sequencing, learning the right sequence to go right to left faster and more on time. What we're going to do is we're going to use our orange whip here. We're going to start with it in the front of our body, and we're going to have our back heel up, and we're going to get our feet together. As soon as you go back, drop the right heel. So right when you get to the ball, drop your right heel, and let's extend that right into the backswing. So we drop the right heel, go back. Drop the right heel, go back. And now as we get to the top, we got to take a step forward like a baseball player and get into our golf width, correct width. So we're going to go boom, 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 boom. And then we put them all three together. So we go boom, boom, boom. Too many people get on their back foot too late. The arms are already behind them. By the time they get to the top, they're still all the way on their trail hip. And they come down with the arms and the body at the same time, and it becomes very stuck. And you've got to make room for those arms to get in front. In this drill, we're making sure that as we step into it, we have the proper sequencing. Right here, we're already moving slightly forward as we're going back, like a baseball player. And we can really whip it through. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of tutorial of all the things we went over in our clinic this morning. And I hope to see you next week for week 2 of the Duffers 8-week clinic series. Thank you.